Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. A quick info before we begin. Today's video has 2 stories and both of them have updates. Now let's get started with the first one. This post is from the subreddit Relationships and it's by user 10.font. My 28 female boyfriend, 30 male, erased the whiteboard I had my novel timeline on. 3 years. I have been working on a novel for about a year. I write every day, even just a sentence. 6 months ago, my college switched to smartboards and put all their whiteboards in the garbage. I grabbed 2 because I have a huge wall space open in my living room. Most of my writing is done on my Google Drive, but I have things like character personalities, names, places, and a general timeline, etc. You know, stuff I want to remember. I used to take photos of it so I had my ideas with me. I used to write on my lunch break. I stopped doing that because I burned myself out and my writing quality took a huge dive. Plus, my boyfriend helps me write and it helps us connect in such a deep way. So I haven't taken a photo in about 3 months. The whiteboards are nice because I can read my notes across the room while sitting in my favorite chair. I got home last night and all my stuff was erased. It was all train of thought, like I'd come home and jot something down. Handwriting is way more cathartic for me. I had sketches of things in the novel. I'd basically have to go through and remember every single thing on it. I have a lot of it stored in my head or on my Google Drive, but there are some things I'll never get back. But it's the fact he erased it. We don't live together. He told me I've been focusing too much on it and have no time for him. We hang out at my house 5 to 6 nights a week. I write while he plays video games. It's a good dynamic and I thought we enjoyed it. We are always laughing and he helps me with my wording and I Google stuff to help him in his game. This is the first time he's mentioned it bothering him. If he had brought it up, we could have talked about it, but he went nuclear and I have no idea why. I don't know what to do. I'm so frustrated. We have had one serious argument over his driving. He got better. My family took him on vacation a few weeks ago. We watch his nephew all the time. His family paid for my entire spring semester. We are so much a part of each other's lives and I feel so hurt and heartbroken. He's my muse and just the other day we went to the jewelry store to look at rings. My feelings rotate between rage, sadness, confusion, sorrow, anger, everything. How do I even approach this? Last night I was so upset I asked him to leave. He hasn't texted, he hasn't called, he hasn't stopped by. I keep typing in questions to ask, but I keep erasing them. Why did you do it? Are you unhappy with our relationship? What did I do? I'm even more heartbroken due to the fact he hasn't called or texted all day. I'm afraid to call him. I don't want to hear him say he thinks we should break up or that he doesn't want to be with me when I'm writing, or just ignore my call. Wow, OP, your boyfriend sounds like he absolutely sucks. I mean, the fact that he erased your whole whiteboard because when you write you're not paying attention to him, what the hell? I mean, he's playing video games, that's an okay dynamic. You guys are both doing your own thing and it's fine. Was he expecting you to sit down next to him and cheer him on while he plays video games? This story reminded me of one that I read like 2 years ago where a boyfriend lit up the candle the late sister of OP made and it was her only memory left of her. Your boyfriend didn't do exactly the same thing, but what he did sucks. I mean, he erased your whole book idea. Everything that you needed to keep writing something that you are interested in, something that you're passionate about, he just took that away from you and now he's not even answering. Honestly, OP, if he thinks you guys should break up, wouldn't be the worst thing, but if I were you, I'd get ahead of that and just do it myself. OP, you tell us that your dynamic is really cool and that your relationship is great, but then he goes and does something like this without even talking to you. He decided that the best way to get your attention in times when he doesn't have it is to destroy something that you love. And that is just wrong on any level. Personally, OP, I don't think this is something I could come back from, because if my significant other destroyed something I love this way just because of a whim, then yeah, I'm out. And what do you guys think about all of this? What would you do if you were in OP's shoes? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. The Darkest Beer says, this was an unbelievably effed up way to deal with those feelings. I hate your boyfriend right now. Remember in Little Women when Amy burnt Joe's book because Joe wouldn't let her come to the theater with her? That was pretty messed up, but ultimately Amy was a child and she would grow up and be better. Your boyfriend can't do better than the most hated March sister. He's showing you that when he doesn't get his way, he will punish you and destroy the things you care about. This isn't an isolated incident, it's an important piece of information about his character. If he comes back with a massive apology and a plan for how he's going to deal with his feelings in the future in a non-destructive way, then maybe I'd say it's worth a conversation about continuing this relationship. And Opie responds, I actually haven't read Little Women, sad face, but I ordered it for my Kindle. It's just so out of the blue. Part of me wonders if there's something going on with him beyond what he said. I don't know. Blinkings and Beepings says, wow, I'm honestly shocked. Like, he didn't even do this in a moment of anger during a fight. He went over to your house and did it while you weren't there. That's messed up. He could have brought up his concerns in a million different ways, some better than others. My spouse is a writer, so I know that feeling of getting jealous of the novel, and I haven't always been super constructive in the ways I've brought it up. But instead of having a discussion with you, he decided to act unilaterally to sabotage your work. Your feelings are totally valid here. I can't even imagine how angry you'd be. Paisley8827 says, I don't think you should contact him at all. Sometimes it takes boys longer to figure out what they did wrong, and we older folks call that stewing. Let him stew. He has to figure this out for himself. If your lives are that intertwined, he's feeling it also. Don't let your own mind fool you. The fact is that was the ultimate douche move. You need to stop thinking about what he's thinking and start thinking about what you want to do now. I think you need to seriously reconsider a life with this person. That was just so randomly hateful. And seriously, don't text him. There is not one good or reasonable reason for doing what he did. That's what you want to find out, and I'm telling you, no there's not. You need to make him come to you. Pelagicane Moan says, he doesn't even live there? Selfish mother effer. This would be a serious setback to the relationship if this happened to me. Don't go through with the engagement until he learns to deal with his feelings like an adult. By the way, the best predictor of a couple's longevity is not how often they fight. It's how they resolve conflict. Your boyfriend's behavior does not give me hope for this relationship. Agreed. Additional information from Opie's comments. For all of you that say I should throw away his controllers and erase his console data, I get what you're saying. I hadn't thought of the video game reference, but I don't think I'll do that. Still, it was surreal that he was just standing there and he seemed so, I don't know, proud, happy, vindicated. I've had my jaw drop once before in my entire life to the ventriloquist singing girl who was in America's Got Talent so many years ago. Lol, I didn't know it was an actual feeling or shock and awe. It did last night before I blanked out and woke up face down on my bed, asking him to leave. Sad face. Alright, well the community's clear. If there's gonna be any contact, it must be from him to her, and OP should rethink about her relationship. Also, OP has no idea how to feel right now. She's still in absolute shock. So now, let's move on to the update to see what happened next and how the story ends. But of course before that, here's another one of my playlists for you to enjoy after this video. Now, let's move on with that update. It's been about 3 months since I made my post. This somehow seems like it got really long. The night I made my post, I went to a friend's house and she ordered a pizza. We got ice cream and a bottle of wine. She's a straight shooter, takes a neutral approach, and she gives solid relationship advice, so I felt comfortable talking to her about everything. She couldn't figure out why he'd done it. We went over how he and I hung out and how much he seemed to care about me, how we looked into each other's eyes, but also revealed a lot of hesitation on my part. I'm a positive person and tend to forgive faults or overlook them. I suspect it's some sort of coping method from my childhood. We had some unresolved issues I think he was holding in, but when I'd bring them up, he'd just get kind of salty and go, "It's fine, I don't care anymore." But he'd bring them up in arguments. I didn't realize how toxic it was. That same night, I'd told him I was coming over the next day to talk about things. I told him I'd be over around 11, and the only thing he texted me was, "Okay," which I didn't respond to. I went over to his house at 11 and he was asleep. He got upset when I woke him up. It took the wind out of my sails. On a good day, I cry if something upsets me, but I was so angry and heartbroken I couldn't even think. I left without saying a word to him and he didn't follow me. On my way out, I went to the kitchen and took my house key from his key ring. I drove home in a daze, collected all his things, put them in a box on my porch and texted him to come get them. He said, "What the hell? That's fine. I'll come by later and pick them up." I went out with a few girlfriends. We got day drunk and had some amazing food. It made me feel better, but when I got home and his things were gone, I was heartbroken. I never texted him, he never texted me. I got absolutely no closure, and even though some people say closure is BS, I've had the hardest time moving on. It's been 3 months and I still cry in the shower sometimes. Even though I broke up with him, I still feel so confused and heartbroken. I never figured out why he did what he did. I likely never will, and I miss his help and companionship. I'd love to come here and say I finished my book, but I haven't written much since. I can't get into my character's head anymore. There's a feeling of loneliness and grief that sort of helped me create a better outline, but I can't write about my characters. The other day, I went to the bookstore to study. I ended up looking at books related to time travel and found one that has thousands of positive reviews. My novel is science fiction and I've been trying to think of how to incorporate time travel, so it kind of lined up perfectly. It turns out a lot of my ideas mirror theoretical physics. It's eerie, I've never taken physics or read about it. Suddenly, string theory makes sense, cosmology makes sense. I'm blown away and it makes me feel so weird that so much of my plot has been studied so in depth. The book has lit a fire under me. Reading more about everything makes me so excited and it's helped me really flesh out my plot. I can't put it down and read 20 or so pages a night. I haven't actually made time to sit and read a book for years. I always have a notebook with me now, so I write my ideas down. I haven't written about my characters yet, but my passion is back. My plot is making more sense. Now, I don't care much about how we broke up, I'm not confused. I sometimes get sad at night or during the day, or if I go out and make prolonged eye contact with a guy. I haven't thought about dating and I'm still too hurt to pursue it. But every day I move on a little bit more. I wanted to thank everyone who gave me advice. I forgot about my post until just now, and when I went back through to read it, it made me realize how seriously messed up it was, and it gave me closure. Thank you. Alright OP, I'm gonna call it a very positive update. You got closure, just not the type that you were expecting, and your work has moved on forward. You still can't write about your characters, but I know you'll get there. So here's wishing you the best in the future, OP. Thank you for sharing and take care. Now let's move on to the next post that, like I said in the beginning, also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Relationships and it's by user Mary Cherry. How should I, 25 female, tactfully ask my bridesmaid, 26 female, to fix her hair for my wedding without sounding like a bridezilla? More details inside. Kat and I have been close friends since our freshman year of college and I love her dearly. We're both what you would consider ex-goth and still run with that same alternative style as adults. We're both covered in tattoos and piercing, wear all black and have never once heard of the concept of day makeup. The only problem is Kat's hair is simply awful. I really hate typing this out because Kat is my girl and I defend her to the death. But her hair is bad. Kat's hair has been a rainbow of colors for as long as I have known her, but in the past 2 years she has stopped going to the salon and has been dyeing her hair at home. This would normally be a problem, but Kat is not a good hairdresser. Her hair is damaged, patchy, and the colors are faded and bleeded out. I want to stress that the color and cut of her hair are not the issue here, it's the quality of her dye job. My own hair is styled into a blue and pink mohawk at the moment, but I had all of that work done at a salon. I need to tactfully bring the issue up with Kat, but I'm afraid of damaging our relationship. Kat is sensitive about her appearance and says that she chooses to express herself through her style. She has reacted badly to criticism of her appearance in the past and has specifically chosen a career where an alternative style wouldn't be an issue. She's a photographer. My idea is to come up with some excuse about getting pampered prior to the wedding and then suggesting that Kat get her color touched at the same time. But I'm scared that she will refuse at the last moment and I will end up with thousands of dollars worth of pictures that feature a woman with streaky hair. Really, any suggestions would help a lot. Well, OP, in my opinion, if she's your friend and you really don't care about the color or the style, you just care about the quality of the work, then maybe you can talk to her and say, hey, would you like to get the salon treatment the day before the wedding? You know, it's just an offer and I don't think it would be taken as criticism. Also, I don't think you're being a bridezilla. A bridezilla in this case would ask her friend to, I don't know, dye her hair a particular color, wear a particular type of dress on, I don't know, maybe go do cartwheels down the aisle or something like that. But the way you phrase it of pampering your friends with styling and hair coloring, I think that's just an invitation and a moment for you guys to bond before the wedding. Now, of course, there is the chance that she'd say, no, I don't want any of that, I want to do it myself. But honestly, I don't think that'll happen. I mean, who would refuse professional treatment and pampering over doing the work yourself for a wedding? And what do you guys think about this situation? How would you approach this problem if you were OP? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Baffled Soap says, honestly, there's no way to say, I feel your current chosen hairstyle will ruin my wedding photos without it sounding pretty much exactly like that. If you want her to have her hair professionally colored so it looks better in your photos, then I think you need to be willing to cover that cost fully. You can't tell someone they don't look good enough to be in your wedding photos and that you expect them to pay to fix it themselves. You can try to tell her that you're treating both of you to a color session prior to the wedding to ensure your colors are vivid for photos, but she can probably still read between those lines. And OP responds, I am more than willing to cover the cost of her hair coloring for the wedding and she can have it any color she wants. I just want it to look nice and as though she's a bridesmaid in a semi-formal wedding. Cat Pennies says, in the grand scheme of things, does her streaky hair really worry you that much? Can she not afford the hairstylist? I dye my hair at home for that reason. And OP responds, her budget is tight. But I've dyed my hair at home and had a better result than she did. It's difficult to describe without a photo, but she has to bleach her hair, then use the colored dye on it. The bleaching part is not something that Kat is good at, and I don't think she uses a toner on her hair to remove the orange and yellow tones first. There are also pieces that are still brown because she missed them during the bleaching process. And Aunt Goat says, Dear bridesmaid, wedding photographer suggested I recolor my hair so it really pops on camera and doesn't look washed out since these are high resolution pictures. Want to get yours done too? My treat. Found a great hairdresser and it would be fun to go together. Alright, well I think the community gave OP some pretty good pointers on how she could go about this thing, and OP is very clear that she would cover all the costs. So now let's move on to the update to see what happened next. Hey guys, I'm the bride who had the irrational bridezilla panic attack about my friend's hair a few weeks ago. The wedding is happening tomorrow, and I have nothing better to do with my life than to post on Reddit right now and update you guys. Plus, it's calming my pre-wedding jitters. I want to say I appreciate everyone's advice from my last post. I really took what you guys said to heart and decided to accept and love my friend for who she is and not what her hair looks like. I extended an offer to all of my bridesmaids to get their hair colored and styled for the wedding, if and only if they wanted to get their hair done. I did it via group text too, so that no one would feel singled out. I was able to get an amazing deal for all of us on our hair because one of my bridesmaids' cousins had just graduated from beauty school and she gave us a huge discount. Kat replied back to my text message with an "Oh my god, yes please," and she practically ran to the salon chair as soon as we entered the building. Apparently, she had been trying to ombre her hair at home and had spectacularly failed, then basically said F it and left it as it was. Anyway, her ombre got fixed and it looks absolutely beautiful, fading from dark to light blue. Our wedding colors are blue and white and Kat said she wanted to match. Lol. Once again, thank you guys so much for being a rational voice among all my Bridezilla craziness. Smiley face. Alright OP, crisis averted and your bridesmaid friend really wanted your help, so that's awesome. Nobody's feelings got hurt and your wedding is gonna be awesome. Thank you so much for sharing OP and take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out, so here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later, and also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.